Napoleon Hill, the founder of modern wealth thinking, left behind hundreds of pages of books and thousands of inspirational quotes. But there is one thing that few people pay attention to. In all the things he wrote, there is only a small group of principles that he himself considered the hidden foundation, the thing that made millions of people successful. Not noisy, not prominent in the chapter title, but if you miss these 5 principles, you will only touch the surface of success and never maintain it. And today you will know those 5 principles. Not a copy of the theory, but the way Hill used and today's millionaires still live by every day. Maybe you, like me, started with a very simple question: how to think differently and get richer. Over the past 7 years, I have not only read Think and Grow Rich many times, but I have also applied, tested, and shared what I learned from Napoleon Hill with thousands of people. And the interesting thing is, it is the principles that few people mention that have changed my thinking and financial journey the most profoundly. You don't need to be born rich. You don't need superior resources. You just need to have the right mindset and a deep enough commitment to go all the way. This video is not a theoretical lesson. I share what I have applied, proven, and is still producing results. If you are ready to step into a more breakthrough version of thinking, then let's continue. Because the 5 principles that are about to come are not simple, but extremely valuable if you really live by them. In this video, you won't just hear what Napoleon Hill once wrote, but you'll dive deeper into the 5 principles that are rarely mentioned, but have radically changed the lives of those who dare to practice them to the end. These are not 5 everyone knows things like setting goals or thinking positively. Rather, they are the silent but powerful foundations. The things that Hill believes if you ignore, you will always feel missing something no matter how hard you try. Specifically, you will discover why faith is not enough without corresponding action, applied faith. How self-discipline becomes financial and emotional leverage, self-discipline. Why failure is not scary, but the material that creates the millionaire mindset, learning from adversity. Why focusing on the wrong things is the reason why smart people stay poor, controlled attention. And finally, why physical health is the first thing you must manage if you want to control your finances, sound health. Each principle will come with a brief explanation, a real-life example, and an action you can start today. Don't just listen to know. Listen so you can actually apply it, a little bit every day, until it completely changes the way you live, think, and act. Because Hill didn't write the book for you to take notes. He wrote it for you to take action. 1. Applied faith. Faith is the beginning, but active faith, the foundation. Napoleon Hill did not say just believe and then sit back and wait for things to happen. He said, faith is not real until it moves you into action. That is, faith is not enough unless it moves you to act immediately and act strategically. The problem is, many people understand faith in the think positive and things will happen way. They visualize, imagine, write down, map out their dreams, but do nothing concrete. That is passive faith, the sweet but useless kind. Hill emphasized, real faith must be reinforced by planning, repeated by habit, and verified by results. So what is applied faith? It is when you dare to take a step, even when you don't see the whole path. When you dare to start writing a chapter of a book, even though you don't have a publisher yet. When you open up to a partner, even though they may not agree. When you invest time, brain power, and even emotions into something that is not certain, but you act because you believe in yourself and the plan you have prepared. Hill believes that proactive belief is the key to overcoming all barriers: fear, procrastination, doubt from others, and especially impatience. He recommends that everyone have an active belief affirmation to repeat every morning. For example, I don't wait for perfection. I take action. Every action I take today is moving me closer to my financial goals. You can write it on a piece of paper, stick it on your mirror, and repeat it every morning. But more than that, you have to let it guide your behavior. Remember, if your belief doesn't move you to do something new, difficult, or out of your comfort zone, it's not a belief, it's a dream. Napoleon Hill didn't write this principle to make you feel good. He wrote it to wake you up to action, especially in the moments when you doubt yourself the most. And if you only pick one principle to start your new thinking journey with, Start with proactive belief, because everything else starts with that. 2. Self-discipline. If active belief is the fire that starts, then self-discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire from going out. Napoleon Hill once said, "You will never be greater than your ability to control yourself." It sounds simple, but this is the biggest bottleneck that prevents many people from maintaining wealth. Because everyone can start, but only the disciplined can finish. Hill did not define discipline as forcing yourself to do unpleasant things. For him, discipline is proactively controlling behavior in the direction of serving a larger goal instead of being driven by emotions, unconscious habits, or temporary needs. Think about it. You know reading is important, but Netflix is more appealing. You know saving is necessary, but buying that sale item makes you feel worth it. You know waking up early makes you more proactive, but a warm blanket wins every morning. Self-discipline is when you make the right choice, even though you are easily tempted by the wrong one. Hill emphasizes, wealth is not maintained by intelligence, but by self-control of emotions, habits, and reactions. You can be angry, but do not act on anger. You can be discouraged, but still persevere one step further. You can want to give up, but choose to sit down and rewrite the plan. And importantly, discipline is a skill that can be trained. No one is born with iron discipline, but each small action, like completing a task you hate but still do, builds brick by brick for your willpower. Hill recommends that everyone have a discipline ritual every day. It could be waking up on time, finish a task even if you don't feel like it, or simply sit down and do it without letting your emotions get in the way. He said, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you do not control your thoughts, you cannot control your actions. That is, mental discipline is the root of behavioral discipline. You cannot control your actions if your mind is always being pulled by comparison, emotions, or fear. So, if you are building a rich mindset, look at your schedule, habits, and reactions every day. No need to change everything. Just have one thing you start to control, and you will find yourself getting stronger every day. Because no one goes far on a temporary motivation. The one who reaches the destination is the one who has quiet but consistent self-discipline. 3. Learning from adversity. There is one thing Napoleon Hill repeats over and over in most of his lectures and books. Every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But the problem is, most of us never see that seed. We are too busy blaming, too busy hurting, or too quick to get rid of negative emotions that we don't learn anything from it. Hill doesn't teach you to sit there and suffer. He teaches you to turn adversity into fuel for your growth mindset. He doesn't glorify failure. He just says, if you are failing, make sure you don't leave empty-handed. Have you ever lost money in investing? Ask again. Was that decision driven by data or by emotion? Have you ever been betrayed in a partnership? Ask again. What signals did I miss and why? Have you ever put off an opportunity for too long? Ask again. What fear drove me? The right questions in adversity are the keys to the biggest leaps forward. Napoleon Hill did not come by the principles he left behind. He failed dozens of times, from bankruptcy to penniless, from opposition to being ignored. But he was determined not to leave that adversity without learning a valuable lesson. And the truth is, no one has ever succeeded without failing. The difference is, the rich do not avoid adversity, they learn from it. Hill suggests you write down your failures and answer 3 questions. What did I learn? What would I do differently if this situation were to repeat itself? How can I turn this experience into an asset, not a burden? When you start doing this, you will find that adversity is no longer scary, but begins to become useful. You will no longer be tied down by the feeling of, I was wrong, but will see, I learned something new. Hill does not promise that you will always win, but he affirms, those who do not learn from failure will fail again. Those who know how to reap from adversity will become stronger after each stumble. And you, if you are in the middle of a difficult period, stop and ask, what seeds are buried in this pain? Because maybe the place you thought was the end is the beginning of a whole new level of thinking. 4. Controlled attention. If you ask, How are successful people different from ordinary people? The answer is likely to lie in this principle: controlled attention. Napoleon Hill believed that the highest form of self-discipline is controlled attention. That is, the pinnacle of self-discipline is the ability to control your attention. And this has never been more important than it is now. When you are living in a world where every notification, every short video, every news feed is competing for your attention, every second, every minute, the question is, are you owning your attention, or have you given it to someone else without realizing it? Hill believes that wealth does not start with money, but with selective focus. He calls it the concentration of mental energy on a single goal, to the point where everything else fades away. Notice, successful people don't know too much. They're very good at one thing, and they do it consistently. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, know a lot, do a lot, but don't get anywhere. They multitask, they multi-direct, and ultimately their energy is fragmented. Hill suggests you practice controlled attention in 3 simple steps. 1. Choose a single goal for 90 days. Not 5 things, just 1. For example, build a YouTube channel, increase your income by 10 million, finish reading 3 financial books. 2. Cut out all distractions that don't serve that goal. Take a break from social media, unsubscribe from irrelevant channels, reduce the time you spend reading useless news. 3. Plan to use specific time for a single goal. For example, spend 1 hour every morning doing only one thing. No job hopping, no tab switching, no reacting. Hill says, mind power becomes money power only when directed. That is, mind power only becomes money power when directed with intention. Controlled attention doesn't mean you can't do anything else. It means you always know what's taking up your attention and whether it's serving your goals. This is something billionaires, CEOs, athletes, and founders are all very good at. It's not because they're better, it's because they protect their attention as an asset. And if you feel like you know a lot but the results aren't clear, it's probably not that you lack knowledge. It's just that you lack the ability to focus with control. 5. Sound health. If you think rich thinking is all about goals, actions, or strategies, then you may be missing the most powerful yet silent foundation: health. Napoleon Hill was not a doctor, but he devoted a whole principle of life to this. Hill wrote, "Good health is a necessary condition for maintaining mental energy, creativity, and discipline." Translation: no one can operate a rich thinking when they are tired, lethargic, and lacking vitality. Just think about it. How can you maintain a big goal if you wake up exhausted every day? How can you control your emotions, make good decisions, if your brain is operating on a body that is malnourished, sleep-deprived, and constantly stressed? Hill emphasized, health is not just the absence of disease. It's about having high energy, mental clarity, and the ability to bounce back from stress. And the truth is, many people slow down, not because they lack knowledge, but because their bodies aren't strong enough to handle stress, implement new habits, or maintain sustainable action. Have you ever been so tired that you put off an important project, lost sleep over financial stress, and then couldn't stay awake to tackle it? Had a great idea but lacked the energy to execute it? That's when you realize health isn't outside of the wealth mindset, it's at the core of it. Hill recommends that you consider healthcare as part of your personal financial strategy. Eat healthy not to live longer, but to be more alert today. Exercise not to get in shape, but to increase your willpower. Get enough sleep, not for good sleep, but to regenerate your brain's ability to think strategically. Want a millionaire mindset? Start with a body that doesn't drag you down every morning. Napoleon Hill said it clearly, no one is truly successful unless he has control over the habits of his life that affect his body. So if you're tired, take a break, but rest to recover and come back stronger. If you're putting off a healthy lifestyle, remember, wealth is only as long as you have the energy to enjoy it. So you have just gone through the 5 principles that Napoleon Hill once considered the foundation for anyone who wants to build a sustainable, successful mindset. Proactive belief. Act without absolute certainty. Self-discipline. Control your emotions and habits to act on purpose, not inspiration. learning from adversity. Turn failure into fuel for awareness and inner strength. Controlled focus. Focus your energy on the only thing that matters, instead of being scattered. Health as a foundation for thinking. Protect your body to protect your ability to think, create, and break through. Hill did not write these things for you to memorize in your notebook. He wrote them for you to live by every day. Now it is time for you to choose a principle that best suits your current stage. Write it down. Ask the question, how will I apply this principle in the next 7 days? And commit to doing it not just once, but over and over again, until it becomes part of you. Remember, knowledge doesn't change your life. Only action does. And you can start today. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. In a world where everyone is busy and easily distracted, the fact that you devoted your time to this video proves that you are not just wanting to change, but that you are serious about your own transformation. Know that you are not alone. There is a community that is walking with you on the path of upgrading your thinking. Day by day, step by step, unpretentious, but persistent. If you remember only one thing today, let it be. Right thinking plus consistent action equals lasting difference. Don't forget to share this video with a friend who needs a push to start over. Because big change sometimes starts with a video at the right time. So, don't let this video just stop at inspiration. Comment below, I choose the number principle, along with the action you commit to take in the next 7 days. I will read every comment and response to accompany you, because this is a community of action, not just theory. See you there, where thinking is not only trained but also fully opened.